What race were Jews and early Christians? Bible Book of Acts 2, 1, 5-11. And when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all with one accord in one place. And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men, out of every nation under heaven. Notice he said from every nation under heaven. Parthians, and Medes, and Elamites, and the dwellers in Mesopotamia, and in Judea, and Cappadocia, and Pontus, and Asia, Phrygia, and Pamphylia, and Egypt, and in the parts of Libya about Cyrene, and strangers of Rome. From Israel to Cairo, Africa, there are 165 miles, about half the distance from Miami to Orlando, Florida. 365 miles from Rome to Tunisia, Africa. Malta, which borders Italy to Africa by boat, 143 miles. Now from Israel to Boston, United States, there are 5,350 miles, which during the inception of Christianity wasn't the United States. Didn't exist till about 1,400 or so years later. So tell me how so-called educators are saying Christianity was given to Africans as a form of control when they got to the US of A. According to them, this would mean that it would take 1,400 years later and 5,350 miles across the vast Atlantic Ocean for Africans to hear about Jesus, when during his time Israel was just 165 miles away from them. Ridiculous consideration. Also, the Queen of Sheba, or Ethiopia, heard about the wisdom of King Solomon and traveled more than 1,277 miles to hear for herself how wise he was. Yet no Africans heard of Jesus performing miracles and raising dead people 160 miles away? Preposterous, utterly ridiculous, haha. The fact is, Jesus spent several years of his life in Egypt. Matthew chapter 2, 13 says, "And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeareth to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt." Acts chapter 6 verse 7 and 9 says, "And the word of God increased, and the number of the disciples multiplied in Jerusalem greatly, and a great company of the priests were obedient to the faith. Then there arose certain of the synagogue, which is called the synagogue of the Libertines, and Cyrenians, and Alexandrians, and of them of Cilicia and of Asia, disputing with Stephen." More proof Africans were aware of Christianity. Cyrene is in Libya, where also the young man who carried Jesus' cross was from. Alexandria is guess where? Africa. It's one of the largest cities of Egypt. Summary: both Jews and Christians were always comprised of people of many places and different races who ever believed and converted.